Hi there, welcome again to another episode of the People Management Association of the Philippines webinar. And we're back. I don't know if you remember me. We had a webinar the other week. My name is Boris Joaquin.
And I'm Renzman Sujeto, and we're representing Project Purpose. So basically, Project Purpose is we are purpose-driven individuals committed to mentoring students and young professionals so that they could live out their purpose. And if you guys want more information regarding Project Purpose and what we do and workshops that we offer, we actually do live workshops and we do online teaching videos. So you can check out our content at www.theprojectpurpose.com.
And as you can see in the slide, like what Ren said, we produce teaching videos and we also do live workshops. So if you're interested in anything that we'll be saying today, you may get in touch with PMAP or get in touch with us through our website. And we're more than willing to come and visit you in your organization and do exactly what you want us to do based on the programs that we have made available for you. But for this particular session, we are going to talk about how do you mentor millennials? Mentoring millennials. Right, Renz?
Yeah.
If you know this, we're both millennials. Just kidding.
Really?
Renz is a millennial.
Yes.
By definition, right now, a millennial is between the age of 20 to 35 years old. I'm a phillennial. Feeling millennial.
so don't compute, but he's not in that range, 20 to 35.
I'm 36. I belong to the Generation X.
Yeah.
And the idea why we're doing this together is to demonstrate exactly how a mentor can actually mentor a millennial.
Yeah.
So Renz is a representation of that demographic. And I would represent people who would like to mentor others. And even if you're a millennial, you also get to mentor fellow millennials,
exactly.
right?
So I'm also mentoring a group, and they're millennials as well. So I can apply the things that Sir Boris is doing to me.
Yes. And what we'll be sharing to you is based on our experience. It's based on our experience and based on the study that we've conducted about the demographics and psychographics of millennials. And hopefully, no matter what workplace or organization you may belong to, this is something that you will find helpful and useful when it comes to your mentoring sessions with them or building a total culture of mentoring in your organization. Okay, so let's start. We need to understand the millennials first. It took a while for me to understand this millennial.
Yes.
But it's really not that
very complicated millennial.
Some of you may probably thinking, millennials are so complicated, we can't understand them. They're really so difficult to manage and lead. But on the contrary, you probably just need to understand them and get into their heads and into their hearts, most especially.
Thank you for understanding me.
Yeah, I'm your mentor. So when you understand millennials, you need to get into their lifestyle. So what we did in a particular study is we did a qualitative research, which is basically in-depth interviews. We just need to ask them questions. And we need to observe their behaviors. I mean, it's so easy to understand the behavior of this millennial. I just have to go to his Facebook page. And everything that he does there are very revealing of his attitudes, what he likes, what he dislikes, and essentially how he goes about his day-to-day life. So based on this study, these are essentially the things that we've discovered. Number one.
Well, physically, millennials are at the peak of their physical performance. So as we said earlier, they're at that age of 20 to 35. So they're pretty strong, very active, outgoing. And this is also the time that they start forming habits regarding what they eat and what they drink.
And very interestingly, when I was in that age, I wasn't conscious about what I'm eating.
Yeah.
I eat whatever I like. I drink whatever I like. I am not mindful of my weight gain. My metabolism was still high. No matter how much carb or calories I take, I still remain at least in good shape, I think. But millennials nowadays, the young generation, they're very conscious about what they eat. They're diet conscious. They're exercise conscious.
Yes.
According to a gym that I've talked to, a gym owner that I've talked to, the most number of gym participants or goers are mainly the people under the age of 35. So that was surprising for me. It just goes to show that this generation is very conscious about their physical well-being overall. Second, social behaviors. It's interesting that there are two important things that millennials are looking for in their life: career establishment or advancement, and romantic love. Particularly, you can confirm or deny this, particularly in that order. I believe that this generation is quite ambitious. They would like to establish their career or pursue whatever ambition they have before they would consider romantic love.
Yeah, that's why you've noticed that the norm of marriages nowadays are really at the age of 25 to 30. It's been longer.
Yeah, I got married at a young age. Nowadays, they would rather establish their career first
Yes.
before getting married. And some of them even marry at the age of 28, 29, and even past 30.
Yeah, we have friends that are actually past 30, right?
Yeah.
That's the only time that they would commit to marriage.
Because it takes them a decade to actually establish their own businesses or build their career in a particular company. But mind you, I say romantic love. So it means serious commitment. It doesn't mean dating or going out with the opposite sex and maybe even engaging in some physical activities. That is a totally different story, which I'm not going to talk about in this particular session because we're talking about mentoring. So the third one
is their mental state, which is by studies, they are realistic and pragmatic in their thinking. So we consider them the here and now. Whatever they need to do, whatever is the task ahead, they are very determined there, and they're not really that futuristic in a sense, but they need to do what they're doing right now.
They're also very reflective, and creativity comes from so much deep dive reflection. So overall, with all these three facets that we look into, we could summarize it into the following. Millennials are characterized by their experimentation and their exploration. They like to explore things and they like to try new things. Their identity is connected with their exploration. And this is the age of countless and limitless possibilities. Anything can happen to them. They can do almost anything. So keep this in mind when you're dealing with millennials in your organization. So what we propose to you, as you see in this slide, how do you mentor millennials? It's called life on life. Why life?
Why life? Life is important. It is our essence of being. And by this statement, our proposition that we mentor millennials life on life is that we do not give partially, but we give wholly as a person. So we share everything as we mentor. So we are very transparent, whether you are the mentor or the mentee. So both of you are transparent in your relationship.
Contrary to popular belief that millennials are detached, impersonal, and very much on their tablets or their screens, they are very connected in real life. They want real life connections, they want interactions, and they want personal touches in a lot of their dealings. So life on life is a recommended approach when it comes to mentoring millennials. And if you notice in the slide, it's an acrostic, LIFE, because we would like to give you a short formula or technique on how to mentor millennials. Are you ready for this? Number one, L, love purpose. We believe, and studies actually has confirmed that millennials are probably the most purpose-driven generation of all time. I mean, in one interview that Cathy Young did to me on ANC, we concluded that millennials are indeed purposeful. They're very intentional. The mere fact that they look and scrutinize and select the jobs that they apply for, that's very purposeful. For the very reason why they move from one job to another, that also tells you that they are motivated and inspired by things that gives them meaning and essence and significance in life. So millennials love their purpose. And if you don't have a sense of purpose in your organization, or you seem to be drifting from one thing to another, and you are lost, and they will be lost in your organization as well. They want significance. They just don't want to be successful. They want to live life meaningfully.
So we millennials are considered as achievement obsessed. We are obsessed with achievement. It says here that 65% of millennials in emerging markets, which includes the Philippines, aspire to become the leader or most senior executive within their current organization. So as young as we are, we actually like to be on top. We want to be the boss. We want to be a leader. And that's how we're characterized as.
Yeah, as we start our own organization and movement, if I am to be the CEO, Renz wants to be the COO. And we're 25 years apart. So I just revealed my age. But that's the thing about millennials. They want to lead as soon as they can. They want to ask, when will I be promoted? And I was actually surprised. I used to deal with CEOs my age, but most of my clients right now are 35-year-old CEOs. They're actually very young, but still, I respect them. And I see that their leadership is not necessarily equivalent to the tenure that they have in the office. Their experience is also relative. With the digital age right now, they can acquire knowledge in a snap of finger. So anything that we have probably learned during my generation at a slow pace, they can learn it in just a matter of minutes. So one thing that we do when it comes to mentoring millennials is in Project Purpose, we have a program called the Purpose Path. And it's a 4-module workshop that essentially guides millennials to discover their purpose. If you want to retain and sustain millennials in your organization, you might as well do something like this. So let me just describe to you briefly, and it kind of gives you a guideline also on how to guide them to be more purpose-driven or discovering their purpose. The first module that we have in the Purpose Path is developing your purpose. This is the workshop or module that allows them to write their life purpose statement, maybe their life map, maybe to draw their vision board, maybe to identify their historical markers, and identify their personal values. If you guide your millennial constituents to do that, they might be able to align their personal life purpose and their personal values with the vision and values of the organization. And maybe, just maybe, they would stay longer because they see the alignment and it fits who they are.
Next is designing your life around it. So it's very important that we millennials would know that we are special in our own way, that we are all distinct and very different, very diverse. And we do this by, we have a module which is the serve shape and even the disc profile. We use a disc profile so that we would know if you're dominant, influential, steady, or conscientious. And when you know that, it's very important that you would align your life there, that you would know what are your strengths and even what are your weaknesses or room for improvement. And right after that, when you know who you are, you find your identity, how you relate with people, is when we guide them in determining their destination. What are the things that they need to be doing, what is their goal in life. And one module that we use is successfully setting their goals. So we help them in finding things that they need to retain, remove, or even make a resolve on.
And it helps them to set milestones. And milestones basically like your KRAs and KPIs, just to identify they're actually reaching and meeting their objectives. This is very helpful when it comes to action planning. So as you notice, those 3 modules that we mentioned, discovering your purpose, designing your life around it, and determining your destination, actually builds on one another. And the last module that we have there is called delivering your promise. One thing that we want to teach or mentor millennials on is that when you have a life purpose, you have to fulfill that purpose. And that's your promise to the watching world. We want them to discover their bridge or connection from ideas to impact, from innovation to execution. We want them to be able to change for the better. We want them to improve. We don't want them to be just casting concepts and ideas every here and now, and everything is just floating up in the sky. We want them to be concrete. We want them to be exact. We want them to be actually implementing these things.
And take note, I am a product of this program because Sir Boris actually did this to me first during our mentoring. It's a long-term process how he did this for me, but it's me being given the drive so that I may be directed in delivering my life purpose.
And if you do this in your organization, you could actually discover people who could be leaders in different special activities in your organization. One millennial can actually lead your, let's say, feeding program for poor children. One millennial could actually be the leader when it comes to conceptualizing Christmas parties and company outings. One millennial could actually be the leader of the mentoring program. And they are the ones to assign who to mentor who and make those matches accordingly, because compatibility is really key when it comes to mentoring. But through this program, by discovering your purpose and delivering your promise, you get to bridge the gap between concept, innovation to actual execution, and you help them fulfill that. So remember, millennials really love their purpose and they want to be guided to that.
Take note that they also are challenge seekers.
Mm-hmm.
They do not like the simple things. They do not like repetition and being in a function that is just circular and doing the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
They love the challenge. That's why if you'll notice, millennials are actually finding jobs that would really challenge them to do something new, something better, so that they can improve themselves.
So if there's no challenge here, I'll resign and move on to the next challenge.
Yeah.
So you may want to consider giving millennials extra challenges in the projects that you assign.
And they love that. They love that. They love that.
Because challenge not only drives them, but it also gives them an opportunity to learn new things. Take note of these statistics. 81% of the Filipino millennials have ambitions to be an entrepreneur or run their own business. 81%. So most likely, the fear of most company owners is that this millennial that I've hired right now will eventually leave and be my competitor.
Yeah, right?
Because that's really... But you know, if you have a sense of purpose, they probably would stay a little bit longer just for you to reap the return of investment on what this guy can do and how talented this guy or gal can be. So, but remember, they're very ambitious and they want to own their own business. And who can blame them? Look at this slide. Their role models are like the founder of Facebook, right?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Or the founder of Snapchat.
Evan Spiegel.
So these guys are basically their age group. So they would follow their example, of course. And even there are some Filipino examples here as well. I mean, they have created their own legacy by starting their own business or starting their own social enterprise. So why wouldn't they? So give them and keep them motivated by giving them a sense of purpose. Right? 90% of the millennials agree that their generation has the power to change the world.
Yes, we need to change the world.
How do you intend to change the world, Renz?
By delivering my purpose.
Exactly. That's the mindset. That's how they're wired. And if 90%, I don't know what happened to 10%. Maybe they're purposeless. I mean, they're kind of lost yet. But majority of them would like to be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, let's just test the waters. I mean, speaking of waters, if there's a calamity, if there's an emergency, who are the first people to go online and actually share what's happening?
Yeah, take a video and share it, right? On social media.
Who are the ones who's actually going to donate to Red Cross or donate to a Kapuso Foundation just because they're doing some outreach and emergency relief in a particular situation, in a particular place? It's actually the millennials. They're even going to motivate their parents to do more. So you need to see them as change agents. Okay, next slide. This one is very interesting. Take note of this. It says that millennials don't see any excuse to be part of the solution for a better world. And I like that about millennials. Millennials are very altruistic. You know what altruistic means? It's actually being involved and being selfless. Most millennials, I see that in Renz. I mean, he's out to help his peers, his friends, his families, out to help people he doesn't even know. I mean, when we started this mentoring relationship, it was so good, he felt like he cannot contain it to ourselves alone. I'm okay with that. But he started producing, he started asking me to do Facebook Live and producing teaching videos because he wants his friends, even the ones who live in the US, to actually benefit from our teaching moments. So there's absolutely no way of stopping millennials nowadays. If they want to make a change, they will make a change. My daughter, for once, I remember, she wanted to raise 100,000 pesos, and all she did was do a garage sale. And my wife was preparing literally the garage. And then my daughter said, I don't need the garage, I just need Facebook. And in just a span of 3 days, she was able to raise 100,000 pesos. Wow. 100,000 pesos in 3 days. No garage, but it's a garage sale on Facebook. So there's really no stopping these people on how to make an impact and how to make a difference.
And we millennials look for a career with a purpose. We need to know why we're doing these things. Will this benefit us or it won't? So if it won't, we're not gonna go there. We need to be doing the things that will benefit us and benefit our future, the here and now.
I love this slide. Renz put this together. It's a guy riding a small cart with a rocket ship behind him. Because I mean, these guys, these people, they want to jumpstart their career. They want a career that actually gives them significance. If it doesn't give them significance, they wouldn't want to stay there. From the research that we've done, we've discovered that this generation is so restless. And some employers actually take it against them. Parang, hindi ka mapakali, parang ang kitikit. But, don't take it against them. They just keep on looking for meaning. They're clamoring for their careers to have an impact in society. So if your business is really just profit making, they won't love it. Young people don't want a cubicle career. They want a career that makes an impact. They're looking for a career that they can really be passionate about and be proud of.
Something that they can share on social media.
Yeah. So when we talk to millennials, this is one chart that we share to them, right, friends?
Yeah, and this is the hedgehog principle regarding finding your sweet spot. What really is the perfect situation, or what kind of goal you should be setting? So finding the sweet spot has 3 elements. You need to know what you love, what you're passionate about, what really ignites you as a person. It's an ad campaign asks you, para kanino ka
gumigising sa umaga.
Sa umaga, right? So what do you love? Next is that what comes easily to you, or what are the things that you're good at? What's your competency level at a certain task? So if you're good at it, then that's very important. And last is what pays you well. What is the thing that will sustain whatever you're doing? What provides for these things? So just imagine if one of these elements aren't there, you won't be finding your sweet spot. If it doesn't pay you, how can you sustain the thing that you're doing? Right? Exactly. If you don't love what you're doing, then you'll be like a regular, you won't be a millennial. You'll just be going with the flow in things and just trying to survive your life. You won't be enjoying your life. Or if you're not good at it, the tendency is maybe you'll be fired.
That's true. Now, remember these 3 circles. They're very important because in my generation, I remember we were very compliant. We want to go after the things that pays us well. Or the things that comes easily to us. Yeah? Then later on, we realize at age 50 or 55, I need to do something that I love. And it happens during retirement age. No, this young generation, they want all 3. They want the entire package. So that sweet spot is very important. Giving them a sense of purpose, compensating them well at the same time, making it something that is connected to their passion and something that's sustainable for them, like geographically sustainable for them. Pag malayo yung location ng trabaho, maybe they won't be able to stay there that long. Mobility is a big deal for millennials. So some of them, we actually tolerate working at home because output is more important than physical presence in the workplace. Sometimes traffic is just 2 hours sayang lang sa oras when they could actually do their work at home and accomplish more. So remember this 3 circles that friends shared to you, and you might be able to really drive a sense of purpose to your people, especially to the millennials. Next point. So we have love your purpose. Second one is influence. Influence is a very important thing, especially in a mentoring relationship. Mentoring is a permission-based relationship. I mean, I cannot mentor Renz if he doesn't want me to. And I can't be his mentor if I don't want to do. So there's a degree of compatibility there, chemistry, connection. And all those 3 C's are important to actually build influence. And when you have influence, then you have a clear mentoring relationship.
Again, just like our proposition earlier, it is life on life. It's important that you would give yourself wholly.
Yeah. So just to further define that, for mentors and millennial mentees out there, take note of this. Influence is not a title, it's not a position. It's the degree of persuasion that you have to the other person. I mean, influence is getting, look at the slide, is getting someone to think or behave a certain way that normally they would not think or do, right? So I don't know if you ever caught yourself doing that. I mean, have you ever done something in your life that normally you wouldn't do? Or watch a movie, for example. I'm not supposed to watch this movie, but somebody influenced me to do so. Or I'm on a diet, and then biglang napilit ako to actually eat and indulge more.
That's influence.
Yes, and that's influence. You just don't know that. There's really just two types of people in the world. It's either you influence or you be influenced. I would like to try my influencing skill. I mean, I want to see if I could influence friends.
Okay.
I'll
I think you could try this at home.
try this on another person. Look at the person in the eye and tell the person exactly what I'm going to tell you now. Now you tell him, after this webinar ends, you will treat me to Starbucks.
No! Really?
If the person say yes, then your influencing skills are good. If the person says no, then your influencing power is bad. You need to work on it. But you get what I mean, right? Influence has everything to do by getting someone to move from point A to point B. Not based on position, not based on title, but based on your relationship and the permission that the person is willing to grant you. Now, that's very important to know, mentors out there. Not because you're the boss, not because you're the employer. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're the influencer. Same goes for the mentee, right?
Yeah. So if Sir Boris is mentoring me, but I'm taking charge of the relationship, then who's really the mentor, right?
Yeah. It also tells you mentees out there that you don't need to strive to have a position or title.
Exactly.
You can be an influencer just where you are. In social media alone, there's what we call social influencers. Depending on their followers, whatever they say becomes the rule of their followers, right? So, kaya may fake news. You never know who would influence who. You have a certain degree of influence. Just take note of that. So, when it comes to mentoring millennials, influence is very key.
And one note then that you could keep, we millennials, we can change the world by the influence that we have. So just think about it. Who are you influencing?
Yeah.
Or who are you being influenced by?
Yes.
Because this could really affect how you're living and who you're living it for.
Very good. So those two things that we mentioned are very foundational. Love, purpose, and influence. The next one is the game changer. And this next one is what we call framework. What really sets this generation from previous generations is their mindset and their playing field. Where they are working, what are they doing, what's on their hands. And you need to understand that, because if you don't understand their frame of mind, it's going to be hard to influence them. It's going to be hard to give them a sense of purpose. It's going to be hard to give them encounters and experiences that will be helpful for them to learn. So framework is key. And we're talking about technology. Do you know that there are 5 senses in the millennials' body right now? The 4 ones are biological.
Yeah,
What are those friends again?
It's sight, hearing, smell, and touch.
But there's a 5th sense. And the 5th sense is what we call technology. Parang they can't survive without technology, right?
Really?
Like, I'm gonna ask you, are you willing to give up technology, Renz?
I won't. Why? I need internet. I need my phone.
So if you have a choice, out of the 5 senses that you have, including technology, what would you be willing to give up?
Well, I know technology. I won't give it up. So.
But you have to give up one.
Probably smell, right? I don't need to smell. Oh, what if it doesn't smell good, right?
Yeah, I think most millennials would actually say that technology is so important, I'm willing to give up my sense of smell. Technology is vital and integral in their day-to-day life right now. As a matter of fact, I mean, you don't even need a manual for them to understand technology. Technology is like Play-Doh to them. I mean, just leave a cell phone or a gadget in front of friends, or any millennial for that matter. They know how to tinker in it. They know how to play with it, and they get to work it out.
Instantly, when we unbox a gadget, we don't look for the manual and see how does this work? What's this part do? We just test, and then if it doesn't work here, we're gonna test another feature, and then learn along the way. So it's very important that if we're being taught, it's not based on just structure alone.
Yeah.
Where you don't need to tell us what the structure is.
Yeah.
We need to really feel it. What is the thing that we need to do?
Yeah.
It's more on application based, not explanation based.
Not a lecture time.
Yeah.
Millennials would like to see how you do it, not just tell them how it's done. Because normally that's how we do it. How we We just tell them this is step 1, step 2, step 3. Now go ahead and do it. They want to see you do it so that they can also do that in turn and then maybe mentor another fellow millennial on how to do it. Technology enables people to sense and make sense of the world. Millennial touches the world or gets to know the world through technology. They look at their timelines and that's how they find out what's happening in different parts of the globe. They look at their timelines and that's the only way they find out what's happening with their loved ones and friends. So essentially, that's also the same way that you would effectively get in touch with the millennials. Use technology. I remember in most of my clients, we want to put together digital platforms for learning or digital learnings. In Project Purpose, this is our basic strategy in reaching out to them, right, friends?
Yeah, so we do teaching videos, we get interviewed, we do webinars such
like
as this.
Yeah.
So we're really more on the technological side, but again, we do not forsake the live workshops, but we maximize our time on technology based.
There's a person who contacted us the other day on Canada. They have this online video summit, and it's basically millennial entrepreneurs in different parts of North America. And I thought that's really is the best way to learn. You don't really have to travel and go to a venue for a summit. You just watch a video broadcasted live. And we also did a video for U version, which is a series of learning and devotional series on goal setting and how to be purpose driven. So those are effective platforms altogether, right? So just take note of those platforms and how to reach out to them. And we would like to continue doing that. I mean, this is our second webinar, and we want to do more about that. So if you want your millennial employees to learn, I mean, you can do exactly just the way we're doing right now. I mean, subscribe to this webinar, get more webinars, get more videos online from very credible sources like the Harvard Business Review or TED Talks, and use it as an engaging facility for them. Because
and even PMAP.
PMAP. That's what I'm saying. This particular webinar, I mean, they can learn in so many ways just to watch a video, just to put it in an app in their cell phones. Okay? So framework is very important for you to understand because technology is their fifth sense. Last, on the acrostic life, E stands for experience. Millennials would like to learn based on experience. Right? And one of the key drivers for happiness for this age group is, ironically, some people would think they're detached from their personal relationships because of Facebook. Actually, social media brings them closer, if you want to be honest about it. But still, what drives happiness for them is spending time with their family and friends, going on holidays and vacation, and experiencing all the things that the organization can give to them.
That's why you'll notice that rich and meaningful experiences actually define them. Whatever they're doing, they instantly post it on Facebook. Whatever they're eating, they'll post it on Facebook. So you get to know the person based on what they're doing, what they share on social media.
Some people think that they're being shallow by posting almost everything, like food, photography, and the place that they visit. But actually, they're not being shallow. It defines them. So if they take a selfie right now, it's because this particular moment is
very important.
Yeah, it's a milestone for them. I mean, it varies. Some people, every single moment defines them, so they post it. But I know a millennial friend on Instagram, and I remember we were going out, and I was asking, aren't you going to post about it? He was saying, it's not a defining moment for me. That, ouch. But it's true. It's actually true. It doesn't mean anything to him. Therefore, why would he post about it? So some people are selective. Some people are so frequent selfie takers and posters. So you have to recognize that to some of them, there's so many defining moments.
Another example is that you will know an extrovert on Facebook. If he likes everything, he comments on every post, while you're scrolling through your timeline, you see that he's commenting here, commenting there. But you'll know an introvert by just, all right, he's not liking my pictures. His timeline there's a big gap between the post that he makes. So you'll know it really defines that person. The intervals of posts, medyo 1 week before the next post. So you get to actually see how
and a person is an introvert and an extrovert, and millennials have those qualities as well. Now, experience is very critical to millennials because they say that experience, more than money, is priceless to them. Because the experience that they go through defines them, and it becomes a learning curve for them to actually grow and become a better person. So if you're mentoring millennials, I mean, life on life is really key. Your life transferred on their lives is the best way to actually mentor them. So another form of experience is travel.
Travel is our new drug. We are just so addicted to traveling. That's why you'll notice that every post, everyone when they travel, they will capture the moment and then post it on social media. So just like an example is that when we start Project Purpose, we're invited on sharing on the topic of mentoring, just like what we're doing now, and purpose. And we've been throughout Philippines last year. We've been to
9 locations, I
nine
think.
locations.
Yeah, in 8 months.
Right. So I'm addicted to travel, and then Sir Boris,
I love traveling.
he also loves traveling. So there's that little speck of millennial in him. But again, we love to travel. So why don't you invite us so we can travel to your place, right?
Yeah, if your organization is in Batanes, we'd love to go to Batanes.
Yeah. Or even another country. So why not?
But for millennials, traveling is their new drug. So do you want to engage them? I mean, traveling is the best way for them to actually learn new things. Learning a new culture is very addicting to this young generation.
Like if you're ever to have a retreat for your company, go to another place. Don't stay in Manila.
Yes.
Go to somewhere like Boracay, right? Or go to Palawan. Those places.
And the internet for this generation brings the world smaller and closer. And if they want to try new things, they will check the internet first. And they will check credible experts or endorsers about it, or social influencers. So online reviews is a big deal for millennials. So if I want to go to a certain place, I'll ask Reds first. Maybe he reviewed it or he saw somebody else review it. So at least it saves me the trouble of eating there and discovering how bad the food is. Because somebody else reviewed it, he got to read it, and he got to advise me not to go there. So online reviews is a big deal for millennials as well. Last point on the entire experience thing. Boredom is the enemy. And for them, life is one big adventure. So whether it's your career, whether it's helping the less fortunate, or whether it's starting a new business, millennials would like to see their life as an adventure. And if it falls short of the challenges that we mentioned a while ago, then it wouldn't sustain them at all. So if your company is boring, chances are they probably won't stay there. They probably would look for another adventure somewhere else. So make sure that, you zazz it up, you improve your surroundings, your environment, you give them challenges, you allow them to go to places, so that so sometimes it's not the salary or compensation that actually keeps them. If you're taking down notes, a lot of the things that we said has nothing to do with compensation. So just to recap, friends.
Yeah. So life. Our mentoring millennials, it's important that you would do it life on life. L is for that millennials love purpose. What are they doing and why are they doing these things? Next is that they are being influenced and they like to influence people. So if you don't need a certain position, you don't need to be a big boss. The title is not important. All you need is the power of influence. Next is that we need to know our framework, how we are, understand us better. So that's very important. And last is that we love experiences. We love to go places. What is new? What is exciting?
Now you look at this, 4 essential elements in mentoring a millennial. If you remove the word framework, what do you have there? It's a lie. One of the biggest lies that millennials are a totally different animal. As I got to know Renz and I got to know other millennial friends, and I hang out with them a lot, one thing that I've discovered is they're not really different from me. They're not really different from my father and mother or baby boomers. Essentially, what we have in common is that we're all purpose-driven. The only difference is we were more compliant and we were willing to wait further and maybe at a certain extent sacrifice our own passions just to be able to provide for the family. but we have the same kind of sense of purpose. We all want to be mentored and influence others. There's that essential need for that. We all want to experience things. Although they're very digitally savvy, they're digital natives, they still want a life on life approach on things. So the only difference there are really the digital platforms that they have right now. During my generation, TV was a big deal. To Ren's, TV is no big deal anymore. So the framework is something that's key. You have to put that there, and I think that's the only difference, right?
Yeah.
So it's essential for you to recognize that you're not any different from the millennial. They're just younger by a decade. So when you mentor them, take note that you need to understand the gadgets around them. But essentially, what makes you tick, what keeps you motivated, is the same thing that would probably motivate and inspire this young and promising generation. I hope you guys learned something from today's webinar. Again, we would like to hear from you. I mean, right now you can actually ask questions, and if you chat them with us, we could actually reply to you live right now before we actually end. And we'd like to hear from you. You could email PMAP, or you could get in touch with us through our website, www.theprojectpurpose.com. Again, www.theprojectpurpose.com, or connect through PMAP and see if we could work together or collaborate in any way. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. God bless.